Good morning, everyone. I think all of us.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Morning,
Good
sir.
morning, sir.
Our
Good
second
morning, sir.
Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning, sir.
Good morning, all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Our second session speaker has just joined us. Shall we start, ma'am?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Yes, sir, we can go ahead with the.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, dear participants. It's my honor to introduce our today's second speaker, Dr. Ambrina Sardar Khan. Dr. Ambrina is an associate professor and head at Department of Environmental Sciences, IntegralUniversity, Lucknow. Before joining IntegralUniversity, Lucknow, she worked at an American University, Noida, and also worked as a news anchor, reporter, and freelance journalist for the news channels, Global News Network. She also worked for a national television channel, Delhi Doordarshan, as a show anchor. Dr. Ambrina areas of research includes environmental monitoring and assessment, health risk assessment, environment and society, role and responsibility of environmental education, sustainable development goals, and people participation. She has performed numerous academics and administrative responsibilities, including nodal officer for NAC accreditations and nodal officer for Western accreditation of schools and the colleges. She has 14 years of research experience and attended several conferences at the national and international level. She has also published several books, book chapters, and papers in national and international journals. With these introductory remarks, I would like to extend a warm invitation to Dr. Ambrina Sardar Khan for today's lectures. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Kareem sir, for that wonderful introduction. And I just want to extend my warm greetings to all my participants here. So good morning to everyone.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Morning, madam.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. First of all, I just humbly thank the organizers of this wonderful HRDC program, of course, the refresher course. And I'll be talking about the genesis of environment because I'm an environmentalist. So I'll be talking about the environmental concerns because now environment is a part of every thing that we do. So I'll be talking about the environment and I'll be talking about the sustainable development goals. I believe that every one of us know about SDGs. They know about sustainable development. It is not something new. But what I will try to do is that I just want to take this opportunity to convey that what actually SDGs are and how we can, as a teacher, can bring them into our teaching pedagogy so that we can pass it on to the younger generations. Because, we have only one planet and there's no other planet where the life is, still there, or it's, still need to be find out that whether it's there or not. It's a big question mark. So, I believe that we are from the different backgrounds. So I will not go with the very scientific terms. I will keep it light. And if anybody has any questions, and we'll keep it, on a discussion mode. So I will be quickly sharing my slide. But before that, I just wanted to understand that how would we define development? If we talk about sustainable development, or just on a quick note, everybody can speak that what development they feel and how they define development. Anyone who just tell me, what they understand by the term development. I hope my screen is visible. Is it?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Okay. So everybody has their own definition of development, of course. So I just wanted to understand that, what according to you is development? How would you define a development?
Madam,
Anyone?
may I? is a process
Madam,
of
may I?
becoming much better than what it is, what the existing it is. It is just a process of becoming much better.
Yes, may I have your name? Because once my screen is open, I cannot see who's answering. So if I can have the name.
Yeah, my
and
name is Rupa Sangvikar, madam.
Okay, Rupa ma'am. Okay,
Yes.
Rupa ma'am. Yes, development is a process to get better every day. Yes.
This is Anirban Gota from Srirampur College, West Bengal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I guess with the kind of nature that we have already, it has provided resources to everybody.
Yes,
But
sir.
I guess true development would mean to be in course with nature and thereby have an equality of opportunity and resources.
Yes. Yes, it is. It is. It
Madam,
is. It
can I speak?
is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
According to me, it creates a growth which brings the progress and positive changes.
Okay. Yes. Can I have your name, sir? Okay.
My name is
So
Rajendra.
everybody. Okay, Rajendra sir. Okay, because I'm not able to see the faces, so maybe once I'll finish with the lecture, because I have my screen open and I can see only my PPT. So anyways, development has its own understanding, you know, from person to person, the definition of the development varies, and the definition also varies according to the needs and require. Let me just put one more definition of development in front of you. We all know Amrita Sen. She's a Nobel Prize winner in 1998. According to her, the development is the freedom of choice. Now, freedom of choice, why I'm talking about the freedom of choice? Because choice decide a lot of things for us. Choices decide a lot of things for the nation, for the things at the global level. So development is actually to have a freedom of making choices, to go by it, to stand by it, and to be accepted by the society with the choices that you have made. So that is also one of the definition of the development. Also, every definition that has came from the audience is absolutely acceptable, because development means that you grow with the time, with the passage of time. Development is also to get in sync with the nature. So all these things is a development. But then looking at the condition of the nations, you know, worldwide, I'm not just talking about India, I'm talking about the worldwide. So where this development fits in, the definition of development that I have just put forward to the audience and the participants, and the definition that has come from the participants. So where the development definition fits in, where it fits in with the society, with the nation, or the global problems that we are facing. But anyways, I'll be coming to the environmental concern. That's the topic of my discussion today. I would not be saying lecture, because we all are education fraternity and we learn from each other. It just so I'll be putting on a discussion mode. So environment concern. Now, environmental concern is not something new. It has been there from the hundred of years. It's there. People were talking about it. People still talking about it. So the idea is that where we are lacking. So if you look at the genesis of the problem, if you look at the from where it starts. So if you are looking at my screen, you would be seeing a painting where it says 1847. So of course a painter would paint what they witness, what they see. Now this painting clearly shows the amount of the air pollution that has been done at that particular moment of time. It's an iron works Borsig in Berlin, and Carl Edward Beermann was the painter who actually painted this beautiful painting. So he actually painted what he saw in 1847 at that particular moment of time. That means the problem has started in late 14th and 16th century, that the pollution and the environmental problems and the crisis is not new to us. But then even after being again being so developed, crossing so many centuries, why still we talk about environmental problems? Why we are not able to end those environmental problems? And why still people talk about, we talk about, let's, meet the climate crisis, or, mitigation strategies or adaptive strategies. Why? So we will going to actually explore the why here. And industrial revolution, we all know that by the 19th century we were, quite industrialized by that time, and the industrial revolution has actually, have brought the, environmental crisis, the real environmental crisis, and the damage that has been done centuries and centuries ago is still people are paying price for it. Now here is just to take you back to the centuries, and you can see cutting from 1912, a lot of problems. There are series of problems and the disasters and the issues that happened, and the series of events that actually made people think that what we are doing, it made them ponder that something is not right. People are dying. If you can just read the highlighted words in my PowerPoint presentation, you would see 750 people died in London smog, 1962. There are two types of smog. I'm not going into the environmental sciences, but we do have the photochemical smog and the industrial smog. So London is the industrial smog. So a lot of people have died there. 1966, again, the coal mine waste pile collapsed, lead to the burying of the 116 children and 22 adults in Aberfan, Wales. 1967, the Torrey Canyon oil tanker spilled English Channel. An oil spill, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that is still by today when I'm speaking to you, the world, the oceans, they are facing the problems of the oil spill. One single oil spill take almost 100 years to get wiped out from any ecosystem, particularly the oceanic ecosystem. So again, then the Ohio Kyoga River, this is one of the very tragic event that happened in 1969. There is this train that was going over the bridge, and there it was full of oil. It spilled and it started burning. Then oil spill in Santa Barbara. I am quoting you the events that happened centuries ago, but those were the clicking points, or you say that they were the sparking of the environmentalism into the people. They have started thinking the environmental disaster, whether it's flood or drought. We have seen the famine itself in India. Minimata disease, we all know that. So I'm going to shift to my next slide, and I want to show these two pictures to you. Minimata is a disease that happened because of the mercury poisoning in Japan, and I can show you the history of events where people have actually suffered, and still the generation is paying the price for the environmental problems or the crisis or the negligence happened that time. Bhopal gas tragedy is one of the example, 1984, and today we are sitting in 2024, and still people are paying the price. It's still the generations that are taking birth are handicapped. So you can understand that if we are not in sync with nature, if we are not connected to the nature, if we are not connected to our fellow beings, it's not about my growth only. It is the holistic development that we talk about. Sustainable development is a concept that comes from the holistic development. It is not just my growth. And if your growth is not in sync with the people around you, with your institutions with the other institutions, and to the nations, and then to globally, then it is not a growth. And that is why I believe that somewhere we are not able to meet those agendas that has come in 2030, that we have to achieve by 2030. And then there are series of conferences, international conferences and conventions that talk SDGs. I'll be coming to that. But this is one of the picture that I wanted to show of 1973, and this is the Niger Delta. The spill started from 1958. This picture was taken in 2004. That is specifically, I have kept it, that from 1958 to 2004, still the problem remains the same. And this is the latest picture I have found of the Niger Delta. And to 2024, I believe that, people have started thinking about it, but then too, you can imagine a gap between 1958 to 2004, still the oil is leaking, and still the pipeline burns, and it cause environmental degradation and problem. Now, just quickly, I'll be going through the timeline of environmental events. So again, I would say the realization of being environmentalist or being nature lover is not something new to us. As human beings, we always wish to be, with nature. Nature does not only mean that you have beautiful plants outside, your garden or in your roof area. No, I'm sorry, that's not the environment I'm talking about. I am talking about that. Do you think that your society is not having the big trees? Or there is no park in your vicinity which has got big trees? Or does the generation knows about the importance of the trees like neem or people or even the biodiversity? Because in 1720, a lot of people in the Kijadali region were killed just to protect the trees. So 100 of Vishnoi people, they have actually, gave away their life to protect the trees that were supposed to be cut down by the king of Jodhpur by that time, and because of creating a palace or something like that. And this is not every king in the history of India has somebody are good hunters, somebody went for hunting, somebody went for the deforestation and all those things. But the people who were who have been born in nature, they always had that love for nature. And that Vishnoi movement has gave rise to the Chipko movement in 20th century. So 1720, then 1820, we touched the population 1 billion. Today we are 8 billion across the world and 140 crores in India. That's a huge number. Then 1824, we talk about greenhouse effect, we talk about global warming. Today we want to address the global warming issues today. But in 1824, the baptized Joseph Fortier, he already mentioned that there is something that is actually working as a greenhouse effect. And then in 1856, that idea was supported by a female American scientist, Eunice Newton Forte, who said that, okay, there is something. And exactly, she said it's carbon dioxide that is actually responsible for the Earth's temperature and has a potential to impact the temperature. Positively or negatively, the statement did not come. But yes, she said that the carbon dioxide has the potential to impact the Earth's temperature. 1872, the term for the acid rain has been coined. Why I'm pitching on all these things? Because again, I want to come to the fact that it is not something that we have started talking today. It is something that is with the human population since 1872 or before that. But then where we are lacking. So 1872, then 1876, British River Pollution Control Act came into the picture, because what the countries were doing, that they are dumping the sewage into the on the bank of the other countries. Basel Convention is one of the example that we have, that actually the law that controls the transboundary movement of the hazardous material. Then, of course, the Yellowstone National Park came in 1872. 1892, Sierra Club was founded by John Muir. He was a Scottish-American naturalist. And Sierra Club is the oldest historic environmental group that is still functioning. Today. Till now, they have got 50 states that has been a part of this Sierra Club. They have actually managed and successfully retired 281 coal plants that worked on burning coal. So till now they have been doing this. Not only that, they actually have got 439 national parks and monuments registered, and they have invited people across the world to take care of it. So these kind of things people were doing since then. The 1903, the National Bird Preserve was inaugurated by the President Roosevelt. 1909 again, we have another conference happened in America. So there are people who've been working, in fact, in 1917, the Alexander Graham Bell, who's the, who had invented the telephone, he actually said that, we need to control the burning of fossil fuels. Why? Because it has leading to greenhouse effect. So I can ask that what the greenhouse effect is. If my audience or if the participants have no idea about the greenhouse effect, I can quickly explain it. So I want the response from the participants. Are you aware about the greenhouse effect? Or you just want me to quickly tell that?
Yes, we are aware of the greenhouse.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So,
Yes, madam, yes.
yes. Okay, I thought somebody was saying something. So actually, so when he said this, so he actually, supported the statement that came in 1824 and 1856 and 1896 by the different scientists of that era, that yes, there is something that has the potential to change the earth environment. Then we have, moved forward. 1930, we have 2 billion in numbers. To 2024, we are 8 billions in numbers, and the population kept increasing. 1930 to 1940, we have actually felt the dust bowl or dust bowl. It is the dust storms that majorly affects the American and the Canadian prairies. So it create a lot of dry conditions, and it affects the ecology and biodiversity to a great extent. So why I'm talking about all these things, because these are the things that happen that draws the attention of the people across the world towards the environmental issue. These problems that I'm discussing or I'm putting in front of you is the individual countries and the individual people who are doing it. But it came into light in 1960, when the Sweden came forward with the proposal that we should have an international conference. I'll be going to that slide just to show you, just to take you back to 1960. So 1960, we reached to 3 billion people. Sweden played a instrumental role in bringing the 1972 first international conference for the natural conservation. 1962, again, a very remarkable year in the history of environment, because the book Silent Spring came into the picture. Of course, most of us know about this, so I'm not going to explain, but it is on the pesticidal pollution and the industrial pollution that is impacting the agriculture sector. 1970, for April 2022, the first Earth Day was celebrated. It came into the existence because the people want to divert the attention of the people towards the environmental problems. So by 1970, the problems were already so high, already so prominent, that the United Nations want the entire world to come together so that these problems can be curbed down or can be mitigated. 1970 was the year when Caspian tiger goes extinct, and the list of extinct animals from then till now is vast, so I'm not going into that. But yes, the human are responsible for every single species that extinct. If anybody disagree with that, we can always have the discussion at the end of the except for the dinosaurs. Even the dodo went extinct when the English sailors, they have actually found the habitat where they were living, and it was a flightless bird. They were hunted down, and finally it goes extinct. So we'll be discussing that. Is absolute a different topic, so we'll be discussing a little later. Then this is again a picture from the history of the the population across the world. And this was a paper cutting of the New York Times, April 23rd, 1970, where million joins the Earth Day observance across the nation. And I think at times the mass movements and environmental movements also, it play a very pivot role when it comes to, bringing the attention to any one thing. This is the thing that I was talking about in 1960. Even it was a time of the Cold War between the Soviet Union and the United States, but the problem by then was so prominent, it was so remarkable by that time, that the Sweden came forward with a proposal that we need to have we need to have a global cooperation. We need a global meeting where we can discuss the environmental, social, and the economical aspects of the various environmental issues on the different nations and the global impact. So in 1967, they have put the proposal to the United Nations, and it was accepted in 1968. It was actually was taken into the resolution, as 2398 23rd resolution in the United Nations General Assembly, where it says that we will going to have or convened a world or international international meeting, international conference, or we bring the countries together to discuss this matter. So in 15 September 97, it was finally accepted. Only one Earth was the theme, was the purpose, that we have only one Earth and we need to conserve it. Then the birth of environmental diplomacy. Birth of environmental diplomacy simply says that, the birth of the environmental laws, resolutions, and the big revolutions came after 1972, because most of the countries, have attended the Stockholm Conference. And this is happened in 1972, and we all are well of this, so I'm not going to talk much about this. But then again, the then Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, she, in her speech when she was addressing to the UN Conference on Human Environment, she raised the question, are not poverty and need the greatest polluters? Again, it is debatable, and still it is debatable, that even if we talk about the development, even we talk about the process and the growth and getting sync with nature and everything, even the freedom of choice that I mentioned as the definition of development, then again the poverty and the need, isn't it the greatest polluters? Because when I teach my students, I always ask them that the pollution starts from B. So they used to wonder, and when I'll finish with my presentation, I'll be asking the participants that if I say the pollution starts from B, that means B for buffalo or B for bag. So why I'm saying this? So that's the question I'll be asking each one of you once I finish my talk. So Stockholm Conference, everybody knows that the nations come together. They have talked about how the the industrial countries, the countries which have good industry setups and who are responsible for the massive destruction of ecological and the biodiversity, or they are responsible for the air, water, and the ocean pollutions. How will they be accountable for their actions, and how the developing countries or the underdeveloped countries will cope up with the global impact of environmental problems? So the action plan talks about the global environmental assessment programs, environmental management activities, and it ended with the 109 recommendations, and also the United Nations Environmental Program was created in that conference. This is again one of the picture that I got from the internet, which shows that the hall where this conference was happened, and 5th June 1972 is an important date in the history of environment. Now the Brundtland Commission. So what Commission on Environment Development, we have heard this word so many times, but then it was known as the Brundtland Commission, and the lady that you are seeing on your screen is the Gro Harlem Brundtland. She was the first head of the commission, and this responsibility was given to her, that she should examine and explore and investigate that what are the issues that are leading to the economic development, labor practices, and the environmental protection. So she has come up with a lot of recommendations, and sustainable development was not very clearly, but it was mentioned, it was somewhere touched in the Brundtland Commission, that yes, how we can bring all the countries together and have a common goals. Unless and until we do not have a common goals, we cannot come together and work for a particular cause. So this was attended by 21 nations, 21 countries, came forward, and they have actually developed economic strategies. But let me tell you, sustainable development is not just about economic strategy. Social and environmental aspect is again a very, very important aspect of the environmental sustainability or the sustainability itself. So what are the major reasons or the points that have actually led to this? So there were so many authors at that moment of time. There were so many scientists who've been continuously pitching the impact of the Industrial Revolution on the ecology, on the biodiversity, on the human health, on the air, on the water, on the ocean. These are some of the glimpses of the books that they have wrote in 1962, Rachel Carson, Silent Spring, Garrett Hardin's Strategy of the Commons, Blueprint for Survival by the Ecologist Magazine, 1972, Club of Rome's Limit to Growth Report, Limits to Growth. Now, again, this is something, we always talk about the growth, but then there has to be a limit of the growth to a point where it should not impact the well-being of the others. Then, of course, 1983, when the Burlett Commission, they have submitted their report, they talked about that we have a common future. Even if you are from America, if you are from India, if you're from Sri Lanka, if you're from any part of the world, we do have a common future. And if, let's say, nature is very, very unbiased, if something going wrong in the polar regions, the impact could be seen into the, at the equator. So this kind of connectivity nature has. So if you're going to damage one part of the planet, the impact automatically will going to, pass on to the other part of the planet. So this is how the planet works. The entire networking of the planet works. If you talk about the hydrological cycle, you talk about, different biogeochemical cycles, they are all interlinked. They're all interlinked. The water that is coming from the rain is ending up into the well next to your home. This kind of channelization is there in the nature, and we started understanding the nature, then we can understand that how it is important to get in sync with nature, because nature tells you to be, to calm your energy, to be satisfied in the minimum, and always help out to the other people. Then from 1972 to 20 years later, 1992, we have the Earth Summit. Again, I believe that everybody knows about it. It is, this summit was, in continuation to the 1972 Stockholm Conference. This is known as the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development. And here we have talked about the social, ecological, and the economic, issues that the world is facing. Then the recommendation came as the Agenda 21, where all these problems have been addressed. And in 1992, there were certain agendas that were finalized, but we have not named them as the Sustainable Development Goals. In 2000, we have Millennium Summit that happened. Because even if you look at the series or the timeline of these conferences, there were several conferences. We have Conference of Parties, still in 2023, we have it. So there were the chain of, lot of conferences and international meets and conventions were going on, but the problem still there, the environmental crisis. So in 2000, I don't know how many of you know this, but before SDGs, we have the Millennium Development Goals, which is popularly known as MDGs. And in Millennium Summit, there were 8 goals that were, actually drafted. And it talks about the poverty, it's talked about the, disease, it's talked about the gender equity. And there are 8 goals that were discussed in that particular convention. And then finally, they were merged into the 17 SDGs that was, came in 2016. So again, this is again, what I was talking about, that the Agenda 2030 came in, with the SDGs in 2016. So in 68th session of United Nations General Assembly, the MDGs were merged, and the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, came into the picture. This is the timeline of the SDGs. So 1992, we had the Earth Summit. There, the Agenda 21 talks about the various agendas that talk about the equity, it talks about the equality, it's talked about the nature conservation, it's talked about the people well-being. So all these agendas were there, but then they were converted into the Millennium Development Goals. Then 2012, again, 20 years later, the summit had happened, and finally the Sustainable Development Goals came into the picture, but the continuation of the MDGs were there. Then finally in 2015, when the Agenda 2030 came into the picture, these goals were merged, and then we have got the Agenda 2030, that by the year 2030, we have to curb down a lot of things. The SDGs came with 169 targets, but let's see how much we have. As Indians, we still are working towards it. We've been doing good. We are talking about the environment. Lately, we have catered and we have attended so many conferences, and why we are talking it at this level, because the SDGs, the sustainability aspect have brought with the education 4.0, we try to educate the younger generation about the environmental sustainability, because environmental sustainability is a key to the all the sustainable development we talk about, whether it's a mental well-being, whether it's a economical well-being, whether it's a environmental well-being, everything linked to the sustainability. Now, this is the Millennium Development Goals. I just wanted to put this picture because I want you to know that how the SDGs look like before. So it is the, again, poverty and hunger, achieve universal primary education. It was a primary education, but with, SDG 4, which is the education, and with that comes with 10 targets. So they talk about the education for all and education at every age. Then gender equality and empowering women, reduce child mortality, improve maternal health, combat HIV, AIDS, malaria, and other diseases. So that time, HIV, AIDS were spreading with a very rapid pace. So, it was actually, as it is, was there in the agenda, then ensure environmental sustainability and the global partnership and development. So these were the 8 SDGs that was merged into these 17 goals. And I'm very sure that most of us have gone through this SDGs, because now when you look at the teaching pedagogy, we actually try to connect the discipline or the subject areas to one of the SDGs. Because as if you look at the national education policy, if you look at the revolution that has brought in by the UGC and even the HRDCs at every university, they talk about the SDGs, they talk about the sustainable development goals, because education is one of the weapon, it is one of the way, it is one of the mode and most strong, which can lead to the understanding of sustainability via their own subject. I don't know how many of you are from the environment or from the various fields, because a management person can talk about the goals that are related to management. A person who is coming from the environment, that they can relate with the environment. People who are coming from the civil engineering, they have their own set of SDGs, which they can actually put in their curriculum. They can use those SDGs in their teaching pedagogy and can tell students, that how they can bring sustainability by making good choices, by understanding environment, by taking care of the nature, by protecting the biodiversity. And when I say biodiversity, I didn't mean that you have to go into the forest and have to protect the forest. It's just that you can start it from your own home, you can start it from your own society, and you can start it from your own vicinity. So these are the 17 SDGs. Of course, I'll be going through them in a very brief way. But before that, I just wanted to emphasize that social, economical, and environmental, these are the 3 major pillars of sustainability. Now, can I have a certain, response from my participants? And what is the difference between sustainable development and sustainability? Anything that is coming to your mind? What is the difference between sustainable development and sustainability? Although these words are something that we keep hearing, it's a very buzzing word, but I just want to understand that what is the difference if I say sustainable development or if I say sustainability?
Hello.
Yes.
Ma'am,
Madam,
Yes, sir. May I have you?
जी जी किसी भी प्रक्रिया का लगातार बने रहना, निरंतर रूप से बने रहना, उसको
जी
सस्टेनेबिलिटी कह सकते हैं हम।
जी
और सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट जैसा कि ऑलरेडी परिभाषित है कि भविष्य भविष्य के विकास को ध्यान में रखते हुए या भविष्य की जरूरत को ध्यान में रखते हुए, उसको बनाए
जी
रखते
जी
हुए वर्तमान
जी
में विकास की प्रक्रिया को लागू करना।
अच्छा, नहीं, थैंक यू सर. कैन आई हैव योर नेम प्लीज?
डॉक्टर अमरनाथ,
जी,
असिस्टेंट
अमरनाथ
प्रोफेसर।
सर.
जी
जी, आपने सही कहा कि जैसे सस्टेनेबिलिटी का मतलब होता है किसी प्रक्रिया को बनाए रखना या निरंतर अगर वो चीज हो रही है, और सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट, आपने सही कहा, सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट में हमें टारगेट्स दिए हुए हैं. सस्टेनेबिलिटी को अचीव करने के लिए हमें सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट की जरूरत होती है. तो सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट इज और द स्टेप्स और द टारगेट्स और द थिंग्स दैट वी नीड टू डू to achieve sustainability. Sustainability is equality for all, mental well-being for all, health and prosperity for all. So when you look at the SDGs, then they are differentiated into the three major points, which is social. So now 1, 3, 4, 5, 11, and 16. If you are looking at my PowerPoint presentation, so these are the 6 major SDGs that talk about the society, that talks about the social upliftment and well-being. So we have no poverty, good health and well-being. Good health and well-being, again, a very important topic. There are I think there are 40-50 people here, and if I talk about your mental well-being, so I'm very sure that even if you're sitting here, there are certain things that are pressing your mind or at the back of your head, which is which keeps you occupied. So it's like, even if you look at the definition of health, it is not just the physical health. It is as per the Constitution of India, health is the status of a person when he is physically, emotionally, and mentally healthy. Then only you can call yourself a healthy person. But then too, again, it's a long discussion. We'll do some time later. Quality education means education for all, ensuring that the education should reach to everyone. If not to everyone, at least everybody should learn to read. This is very important target of the education, this SDG 4, where it says that at least a person should be able to read. Then gender equality, sustainable cities and communities, peace, justice, and institution. Economic, we have got 4 goals that are dedicated to the economical upliftment, economical growth of the country, of the nation, of the state, which is decent work and economic growth. Decent workplace, that is also one of the things. Lot of professional stress affects the efficiency of the person to do work. So ensuring a decent workplace for every gender. I'm not saying that it's just the women who need a decent workplace. It's also the men that needs the decent workplace. Industry, innovation, and infrastructure, reduce inequalities. Now, when you say reduce inequalities, always, the gender difference comes in mind. I do not believe in gender difference. Inequality means any inequality, even if it is the opportunity among the men, it has to be equal. Even if it is a man and women, it has to be equal. And even if it is between the women, among the women, then also it should be equal. Partnership for the goals. Then environmental, of course, zero hunger, affordable and clean energy, responsible consumption and production. That is a goal that can be met individually, because individually I should be responsible how much of ecological footprint I'm producing. Then climate action and life on land. These are the 3 major division of the SDGs on the basis of the social, economic, and environmental aspect, which is considered to be the most important pillars of the sustainability. Now, this is what I had just explained, that, we have got 17 interlinked objectives, which we called as the 17 SDGs. All are interdependent, all, supported by one another. If one SDGs is doing well, the another improve itself automatically. 2015, the idea was convened. 2016, it came into the existence. And transforming our world is the Agenda 2030 for the sustainable development. Transforming our world. Again, transforming. How would you transform? What do you understand by transforming? The definition of transforming is different for the different countries. It is different for the developed countries, for the powerful countries, for the superpowers, for the underdeveloped, and for the countries who are still developing and not yet developed. Now, how we can actually get the sustainability? Now, the idea has been spread out to the 5 P's: people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. So it's still 7 years to go. Now 6 years has to go to achieve the Agenda 2030. Now there are 5 major areas that are of critical importance, as you can see on the screen. And if you look at the holistic approach, so what are this holistic approach? Now the people of the country, first of all, let's talk about the people of the country. Now, if you look at the poverty rate in the country, if you look at the lot of unemployability, or there are so many aspects that is related to the poverty and the hunger, or the ensuring the employability in the country. So people are very, very important, because if you're happy, if you're content, if you're satisfied, then you started thinking of a planet. If somebody who is struggling for 2 meals a day, he will not talk about the sustainable development. He will not bothered about the ocean getting dumped by the plastic waste. He will not care about the fact that the forest has been cut down, because his major focus is to earn 2 meal a day to live. So it's not just the beautiful books, it is not just the smart classrooms, it is to going down into the deep rooted problems, that actually if you're happy, your efficiency would definitely increase. So just imagine that you are 140 crore people, and if you can imagine that problem that people are facing every day, so why they would be talking about the planet? Why, what prosperity has to do with them when they have to feed 2 people, 3 people back at home, and they have no work to do? So these are very small issues, but we need to address them. And we do not, at times, it's when we say that, you have to get out of your comfort zone, and even if you want to help somebody, at times you started thinking, why, it's not my job, why should I be worried about that? But that's not the case. If you will not care about the people around you, if you will not care about the people you see on the road, or anyone, then where is this, how would you say that, this growth or development is there? Because when I asked for the development definition, so we have got the development as a process of growth. We, development is, the sync with nature. But sync with nature is the sync with people. People are also the part of nature. We are not no different. If we look at the entire world, we are one species. That's it. Our important as, people in this world, in this whole planet, is that we are just one more species. That's it. That's what. And since we are the most smart ones, we are ruling the planet. Then of course the planet is protect our planet. The natural resources are there, where we were rich, when it comes to the natural resources. But then slowly the kind of urbanization, the trends that we are seeing, developing societies, developing infrastructures, I just want to put across the board, I'm not against development. I am an environmentalist. I have a room where I'm sitting with a laptop. This is one aspect of a development. But if I look beyond this, there are still kids, there are still children who are deprived of education. So if I am educated, then my agenda would be that if anybody coming across, whether they pay me or not, they don't pay me, let's do it, in a good will. But then comes the partnership, peace and prosperity. I'll be addressing them, which are the goals, that talks about this. And all the targets that we have, 169 targets, where all the, that like goal 1 has got 7, goal 2 has got 8 targets. These targets are actually for the people, for the prosperity of the people and the planet. It is to build up the partnerships, to bring the peace in totality. So that is the SDGs holistic approach. Coming to the next slide, these are the 7 people goals, that 1 to 7. If you look at the first P, which is people. So if you look at the goals, so we have got no poverty, no hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, and affordable and clean energy. These are the goals that are dedicated for the people. That means we ensure that the people of the world, I'm not talking about country-wise, I'm not talking about the state-wise, I'm talking about the people on a whole, that if anybody is suffering across the world, it is the universal suffering. So these 7 goals have been dedicated to the people of the world, so that we can end poverty, we can end hunger, and we can ensure the dignity of people and equality. Now, my one question is just, on a lighter side, what is the difference between an equality and equity? We talk about equality and then we talk about equity. So can anybody just quickly tell me what is the difference? Okay. Let me just quickly tell you what is the difference between equality and equity. I came into the room with 10 burgers and there are 10 people sitting in the room. So what actually the equality is? Equality is that I hand over 1 burger to each one of it. That is equality. Equality, that means you are giving an opportunity to everyone who is present, right? That is equality. Now I walked yes. Okay. Now I walked into the room with 10 burgers and I have realized there are 10 people sitting. Now, 2 of them, they have, a good lavish breakfast in the morning, and there are 2 people who have not eaten since one day, let's say. Now, what equity is? Equity is to realize, to ensure, to explore the need of the resources to the target audience or to the target person or to the person, land, or anything in need. So equity is that when I walked into the room with 10 burgers and 2 of them doesn't want to eat, and instead of giving those burgers to them, getting it wasted, I would rather give 2 to a person who has not eaten it since one day. So that is the difference between equality and equity. So there are opportunities that need to go out to the people, irrespective of their gender, caste, color, creed, state, country. That is an equal opportunity provided to everyone. But then giving opportunity to the people who are actually in need is the equity. So we have to make a balance and understanding between the equality and the equity. Now there are 5 goals that are dedicated to the prosperity. Prosperity means to bring things into a place where there is a holistic growth of everybody who's associated with an institution, with a nation, with a house, with a university, or anything. Now it is good jobs and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production. Now, if you look at this particular 5 goals, you would see if we are maintaining these goals, if we are meeting the target, if we are ensuring that, okay, everybody should have a good job, everybody should have an opportunity of economical upliftment, if everybody has, a nice, innovative infrastructure to work in with a full peace of mind, reducing inequality, the prosperity would, flow from one level to the another level, from top to bottom. It will flow down. It will from one, in environment we talk about the trophic levels. So it will going to flow as the energy flow from the primary to the topmost consumers. So if we maintain the prosperity goals, we will ensure and support the other SDGs, to maintain them, because prosperity is fulfilling the lives, in harmony with nature. Then the 3 planet goals are 13 to 15. We all know this. Climate action, life below water. I'm not going to explain it, or I'm not going to talk about it much, because as, even a layman today talks about the sustainable development. What I'm trying to say is that SDGs have different aspects. When it comes to social, environment, ecological, it has a different reach out. When it comes to the people, prosperity, planet, peace, and one I'm missing, but so then they have different aspects. Then we have peace and justice. We all know that we have to go for a peaceful life. We have to do justice whenever it comes to you. Please do justice, because at times the things go wrong, or the turbulence happens because we do not do justice. So be inclusive. Acceptance should be there. Resilience should be there. Love and affection should be there. I don't know how much of you agree with this, but in earlier days when I was young, we know that who my neighbor is. But today we are so short of time that we don't even know that, somebody, who's my new neighbor. Even in the society, you are living in front and, you are living on the same floor, but you don't know. You only come to know somebody dies when they have chairs, kept in their, kept outside their gates. You know that there is a wedding in your society when only you can see those lighting hanging from their walls. So this, how this has changed. The time has actually bring the insensitivity among the people. If somebody disagree, they can always come back to me, because it's a discussion. I have my perception of life. I have my perception of SDGs. You may absolutely have a different perspective of life and the SDGs, but we can always, talk. Then the partnership for the goals. When we have beautiful goals to accomplish, to bring the nature and people and planet and prosperity at one place, we have to come up with the partnership. Today I'm sitting here and I am delivering this lecture. This is the example of a partnership. By discussing, by talking out, by putting and discussing the ideas, we can come up with a good partnership that can work in the favor of the humanity and the human beings and the nature itself. Now, I will be very quickly be going through these SDGs. Now, SDG 1, that is end poverty in all its forms and everywhere. Everybody knows about it, so I'm not going to elaborate. No poverty simply means that the sustainable jobs should be there, promote equality, let's everybody, have skill development. Today, if you look at the National Education Program 2020, so if you look at the NEP policies, it talks about the holistic goals. It talk about the skill enhancement courses, talk about the employability, the courses that are actually giving employability. Industry 4.0 should be there, education 4.0 should be there. Why we are talking about all this? Because we want to create employability. Poverty needs to be there. It is one of the polluter. It is I can accept openly that it is one of the polluter. Poverty needs to be removed. We have to help out to the people, because the one who is actually worried about arranging a 1 meal a day or a 2 meal a day, they will not be talking about the environmental conservation. They will not talk about the prosperity or planet. They only have one agenda on his mind, कि आज मैं इतना कमा लूं कि मैं खुद खा लूं और मेरे बच्चे खा लें. That's all. That's agenda. उनकी जिंदगी वहीं खत्म है. There are lakhs of people who have not seen, malls. They have not seen good clothes. They have never eaten good food. But we are the blessed ones. So anyways, the aim is to eradicate the poverty by 2030. We are still working on this agenda. We want to create job. We want to have sustainable jobs, so that people can, earn, they can, grow beyond poverty and have a quality life. Then end hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. This is zero hunger. That comes with these agendas where we have to look at the food security. That food security does means locking the food. That's what we did in the COVID. It's not like that. It's to ensure that the food should be producing continuously. Then it should be reaching out to the people in an appropriate way where the equality should be maintained. It's not that, it should only come to my house and not the others. And then improve nutrition. Malnutrition is still a reason of death for a lot of Indian children, and of course the women. And then of course sustainable agriculture. We have to get over the chemical pesticides and fungicides and herbicides, because it has a detrimental impact that has already been into the discussion since 1962 after the Rachel Carson's Silent Spring and before that. So the idea is that we should be eradicating malnutrition, protecting small farmers, protecting the genetic diversity of crops. This is again one of the wonderful topic that I love to discuss, the genetic pollution. Genetic pollution is, again, we talk about the hybrid fruits, we talk about the hybrid crops, we bring the GMOs, genetically modified organism, but again, there is a genetic pollution that we are doing, and maybe 10 years from now, you will be talking about the genetic pollution, that how the genetically modified genes have completely wiped out the native population of the plants or the trees that are grown in wild. So this is again one thing, but let's say zero hunger is one thing that we have been targeting by eradicating or by looking at those aspects where we are talking about the farmers, sustainable agriculture, bringing the green fertilizers, green pesticides, and bioremediation and phytoremediation. Healthy lives promote well-being for all at all ages. Now, when I say for all at all ages, so from 2 years old, like let's say from just born to the death, everybody has, is entitled to have a peaceful life, is entitled to, to be healthy. And health comes with the physical, mental, and emotional well-being. So this is again a very debatable topic. Physical health, it is easily can be seen. I am coughing, I'm not well. I have temperature, I'm not well. I have immunity diseases, I am not well. That can be easily identified. Mental and emotional health, this is something that we have to look forward to. Recently, the kind of emotional insecurities the youngsters are facing. We all are teachers. Let me just put it across this platform. We all are teachers. Try to identify the students in your class who do not speak or who show the symptoms of depression, who are not interacting, please talk to them. We are very busy. I agree that we lack time, we don't, but then talk to them. The emotional security is a reason for the maximum suicide these days. I'm talking about the youngsters, I'm talking about the adults, and I'm talking about everyone. When I say for all and all ages, this is again something that we can talk about. There are diseases that caused by the environmental pollution, air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, thermal pollution. There are a lot of destruction happening because of the pollution. But then there is a contaminant, there is a toxicant. We talk about the toxic relationships, we talk about toxicants and contaminants. It's there in the life itself. So there are things that can be cured easily by giving the medicines, going to the doctors, but then there are certain things which are invisible. So target or SDG, good health and well-being, talks about, if you look at the SDGs, they have got 13 targets that not only just talk about the physical health, they talk about the emotional and the mental well-being of the person as well. Then quality education, again, it has got 10 targets that talk about the overall educational opportunities to the people, and it's not just for the kids, it's for everybody. So if you are we have to ensure the quality education. We have to promote lifelong learning opportunities for everyone. Even at the age of 60 somebody wants to learn, we have to welcome them instead of mocking them off. If somebody enters into a class which is 35 years of age, then we have to be equally responsible to them as we are responsible to the 18 years old or 15 years old. So it is the target is, one of the target is that you have to ensure the education for all. You have to make their life better through education. And of course, the sustainability automatically seeps in when you talk about the quality education. So you are giving them the education, vocational trainings, you are helping them in skill enhancement, you are giving them entrepreneurial skills. So all these things are mentioned in the quality education SDG 4. But yes, the one that I was mentioning, that help children in your community read, at least jo aapke signs hai. At times those kids are not able to write, if it is written danger, they're not able to read even danger. So we have to help them to understanding the signs on the road, the signs, that they see on the, if there is a flammable sign. So if a kid who's not going to the school, and even if he's going to the school, so at the age of 6 or 7, they are not able to understand, it's a flammable sign, you don't have to touch it, it's an explosive sign, you don't have to touch it. So help them to read, even if you're talking, if you're going with your kids and you're looking at the things around you, please educate them for that. Achieving gender equality, empowering all women and girls. So again, this is very, very important. We should avoid discrimination, at the working place, or even in the normal societies. Even if it is not a working place, it's home, it's road, it's mall, it's train, it's everywhere. We should ensure the gender equality. Then again, the gender equality, I would say that empowering women and girls, it's absolutely fine. But gender equality also comes, giving the equality and empowering the men as well and the boys in the society as well. Then ensure availability of sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Again, the scarcity of water is 40% across the world population. We have to avoid wasting water. So these are the small, targets that these particular SDG 6, which has got 8 targets. It shows that we should not waste water. We should have sanitation, proper sanitation, because poor sanitation and hygiene leads to a lot of diseases. And then again, it is a cost. It costs you. It's economically affects you. Then ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. This is again something that I don't have to go in detail. We need to switch to the renewable energy, because fossil fuel is an exhaustive fuel. It is a non-renewable. It's a conventional source of energy. It creates pollution. So we have to switch to affordable. We have to switch to the renewable energy, which is affordable. That is the, something that I have to mention here, because at times we come up with a lot of technologies. There are a lot of green companies have been established. There are a lot of green entrepreneurships and entrepreneurs across the country, across the world. But my question is that, is it in an individual growth, or it is the growth that is holistic? If I am creating something that costs lakhs of rupees and it is not reaching to the person that actually in a need of that particular technology or particular provision, then again the development is in inverted comma. Promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. So again, a workplace where I'm spending 8.5 hours of every day, it has to be decent. It has to be, good quality jobs. It ensures your economical growth. And if you look at this particular target, it talks about separating the growth from ecosystem degradation. Normally, it is difficult because if the ecosystem of your country, if the greenery, if the ecosystem here is the ecology and the biodiversity and the greenery, if it is getting degraded, if it is getting destroyed, then it always have an impact on the economical growth of the country, because most of the things are coming from the nature. So if we destroy the nature, if the ecology of the country is being destroyed, then automatically the impact would come on the economical growth. So the idea is that we should segregate and separate these two, so that even if the ecosystem, due to the natural or the anthropogenic problems, if it is going down, then the growth should not get affected. But anyways, there are a lot of things that need to be done in this particular target. We have got 12 targets on particular SDGs that has to create sustainable jobs, quality jobs for people, and bring the employability to the youngsters. Then build resilience infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. We know that industry has been the main culprit in bringing these SDGs in, today we are talking about. But then, of course, we have to come up with the innovative ways so that we can have the eco-friendly, environmental-friendly technologies. And even the industries that are using the technology, it has to be eco-friendly so that the pollution level can be curbed down. Reduce inequalities within and among countries. This is a very, very important target. It comes, SDGs, it comes with the 10 targets. I have, in the beginning of my discussion, I have talked about, how the countries have been, suffered because of this inequality, or, the different treatment, So this need to be taken into account. And when we talk about the United Nations, we talk about, Greenpeace, we talk about, all these organizations that work, for the human beings or for the population, irrespective of the countries. They should stick to the point, because on that ground only they have been, formed those organizations. But if you are seeing that they are not taking care of the disadvantaged and marginalized populations, somewhere they are compromising with their core values. So we have to reduce the inequalities. We have to treat everyone all across the world equally. So to reduce inequalities, policies should be universal in principle, paying attention to the needs of disadvantaged and the marginalized population. Make cities and human settlements and inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. So again, sustainable cities and communities is one of the very important aspect of it. It comes with the 10 targets, where we say that sustainable cities mean that it has to be a city with all the basic amenities. Now, basic amenities is food, shelter, clothing, proper food, nice, the access to all the basic services that one should need. So it's not asking for hi-fi or skyscrapers. It is asking for the basic services. If I have to go to the hospital and I'm suffering from heart attack, I should reach in time. I should not be dying in the, on the road just because there are 100 cars in front of me and they're not giving me a way to move. So then a lot of things comes into the picture when it talks about the sustainable cities and communities. So we have to prepare the cities for any disaster. We have to teach the people. We have to go for the disaster preparedness. And of course, the eco-friendly lifestyle that need to be, pass on to the masses, to the communities, that how they can be more close to the nature by switching to the eco-friendly lifestyles. Sustainable consumption and production. This is something that goes, from person to person. Please do educate your students and everybody around you about this particular SDG. Reason being, it has got 11 targets. If I have got, I can show you the collection of my pen right away, but then that is something, as an environmentalist, I should not be doing it. I'll just share it with you. See, This is the example of a very poor consumption. When I can manage to have one pen and one pencil and not creating so much of plastic pollution, I shouldn't be doing it. So that is why I'm emphasizing on this, and I don't want to set this bad example. That is why I'm saying, because I am the person who always take things on myself. I'm doing wrong. I should be, manage myself with one pen and one pencil. But anyways, so reduction in the wastage, that is most important. The food wastage is the highest priority. Please do not waste food. Please do not waste food, because half of the world population is going to sleep empty stomach. They are actually sleeping empty stomach. So please don't waste food and any other natural resources, be it water. You can reduce consumption. I show you, it's a bad example. I'll try to improve myself. But then educating people, you have to set an example to, for a better lifestyle. The choices that you make decide the course of your action for the others, and of course, you set an example for the youngsters around you. Then recycle paper, glass, plastic, aluminum. This is something that we always talk about. Climate action, I will be not elaborating it. 2015 Paris agreements, we say that the global warming should not go beyond 2 degrees Celsius, but let me tell you, it has reached to 1.3 or 1.4 by the time this Paris agreement came into existence. So this is happening. Climate change is a reality. A lot of geographers still says no, it's not there. But we are witnessing some very, very unpredictable events when it comes to the climatic parameters or the climatology or the climatic events. We are witnessing, rainfalls. We are witnessing the rainfalls in the desert areas. So these are all the examples of the climate change. And for that, we have got the 13, is SDG 13, and it has got 5 targets basically to switch over or to bring all the other SDGs into your lifestyle, so that you can meet the target that are mentioned in the SDG 13. 14, of course, conserve sustainability, use the ocean seas. Let me tell you, ocean is suffering a lot. If I talk to you about the certain facts, in 1950, 2 million tons of plastics were going into the oceanic body. 2015, it swelled up to 419 million tons. Then it is estimated that by 2040, it will reach to 600 million tons of plastic that will be reaching to the ocean. Every debris across the world ends up into the ocean. It is, 1/3 of the ocean is already converted into a dustbin. So we are doing a lot of injustice to the marine animals and the marine ecosystems. So I know one person cannot bring a change, but slowly and steady, the things will going to change if we start educating the people. We are educating the students. And in 2023, there was a first convention was signed by the various countries to protect the marine life and the marine ecosystem, because oceans play a very significant role when it comes to the overall health of a planet. 75% of the planet is water. So you can understand that even when the planet was designed by the supreme power, then the water was something from which the life originates, and it is very, very essential for the life of all the species. So we have to take care of the fact that the ocean should not be dumped with the unnecessary waste. We should reduce the consumption so that the waste can be less generated, and we should check our action, and we should get ourselves associated with the international organization that work for the conservation of the marine ecosystem. Life on land, deforestation should be avoided. Desertification is because of the climate change. Ecosystems and biodiversity are getting affected by the increased urbanization and the industrialization. We need to protect, restore, and promote the sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems. We have got so beautiful ecosystems, from the mountain ecosystems to the valley ecosystems. We have so much of biodiversity. We are one of the 12th mega diverse country in the world, catering to more than 50% of the endemic species across the world. So this is the beauty of the Indian biodiversity and the Indian ecosystems. And when we are discussing this, let me just put across that we are again the country which shared 4 hotspots across the world, out of 34. So that means we have that wonderful biodiversity, but slowly, as the industrialization and urbanization is happening, and we are keep on constructing things. And there are so many examples I can quote, that has actually, because of the urbanization and the unwise construction has led to the problems. But let me just go on, because I think the time I have to wind up by 12:30. So promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development. It's important. I already talked about, that, we have to be peaceful. We have to be affectionate towards one another. The target for this goal includes a reduction of violence, end to torture, reduction of corruption, as well as the creation of institutions and governments that work for everyone. It's always when it is with someone or for someone. We all are here, when we think that, okay, hamara acha hona chahiye, we should be growing, we should be, in a very good position, but it's not like that. When it comes to the goal 16, and even if your life, it is, it has to be the amalgamation of all the cultures, all the societies, and all the people. Without that, all the other SDGs cannot be fulfilled. The targets cannot be achieved. And of course, the partnership is very, very important. We have to come together to generate funds, to build, have a building capacity and the technology that we can share across the boundaries. If this is very, very important. The technology that has been invented in America finally land up into the India. Whatever has been created in India land up into the different countries. So this is how we are responsible for the growth of not just ourselves, but for the other nations. During the COVID time, India plays a very significant role in providing aid to the other countries. So this is how we strengthen our global relationships. And for the sustainable development, for bringing in the sustainability is very, very important. So these are the 17 SDGs. All these can be achieved through the education. We all are teachers. I finally end up my discussion with few slides on the education. It's very, very important how you educate. What is the idea of your of taking lectures when you step in? Is it a common thing that you memorize and go and deliver, or you want to connect it with some real life examples, so that it seeps into the mind of the youngsters and the younger generation that, okay, life is not just about coming to the university, sitting here in an AC room and have a education and go back. Education is to bring in the gravity in your thoughts and the wisdom, so that you can be helpful and productive for the other species. When I say other species, I'm talking about every single species that walked on this planet. Then, of course, the idea of the education for sustainable development came in 2014 by UNESCO, because by that time the sustainable development was there. So UNESCO is a organization that works for the upliftment and development for all. So they have said that if you want to take the sustainable development to the masses, let's bring into the education. And then they have actually talked about the sustainability education, which they have later redefined as education for sustainable development. Here, they want that the sustainable development should not restrict it to one or the 2 points. They wanted that it should be incorporated in the curriculum. It should be incorporated into the day-to-day teaching, and the masses, the youngsters, and everybody should be educated about the climate problems, about the environmental problems, the crisis, the disasters, the biodiversity, the deforestation, the desertification, the poverty, the hunger, everything. So it actually wants, they actually want to come up with a pedagogy. They want to have a teaching and learning methodology where they bring the change in the behavioral pattern of people. See, education is not about that I became an associate professor and my job is end and my next target is to be a professor. No, this should not be the agenda of a teacher. अगर हम गुरु शिष्य की परंपरा की बात करें, अगर हम we talk about the teacher and a disciple relationship from the ancient scriptures of this country, this beautiful country, India, we must understand that the education brings the humility in people. They bring the behavioral change. They become more wise, they become more devoted, they become more dedicated towards the betterment of others people's life. It's not about me, it's about it's about somebody else all the time. Not only that, but it also ensures, it also came up with the idea that we should develop skills, we should develop competencies that can talk about, that enhance the critical thinking and tells us that is what is better for the species on the planet. It's not about me as Ambrina Sardar Khan or anybody from the audience. It's about, Homo sapiens. It's about sapiens. It's not me and you. So this collaborative approach towards the education is actually referred as the education for sustainable development. Why it is important? Because the interdependence of the humans and environment need to be taught to the student. The balance between the environment and society, sustainable life skills, respect for the planet, future strategy and adaptation. So it is an integrated framework that talks about the quality education. Quality education tells you to, it actually dilutes the boundary. Good education, quality education dilutes the boundary of all sort, whether it is, coming from which society, coming from which caste, color, creed, anything. It is when you are educated, you have a different perception towards life. It is, how you can, if I am having, dining table with full of food, but my neighbor is sleeping empty stomach, there is no point of me getting educated. That's the bottom line. And if you look back to the history of the Indian culture, it always, just go and serve, like if you have one chapati, share it with the person who is, empty stomach. So these kind of traditions, these kind of education, we should inculcate into the younger generations to have a balance of life, nature, job, and the future prosperity, in one string. Then, of course, basic concept of the ESD talks about knowledge, values, action, human values. If you look at the attribute that is given by the UGC and the National Education Policy, they talked about the human values, they talk about the sustainable and environment, they talk about the professional ethics, they talk about the ethics of human being. Then, of course, these are all the parameters that need to be taught, in along with all the skill development course that we use to teach our kids. Then the aims of the ESD, that there are 6 perspectives, that how, why I'm ending this whole discussion, because we all are teachers. Teachers are the biggest, life-changing element that we have in our life. I am a teacher, but I still remember my kindergarten teacher. This is the impact of a teacher on, on a person. So if we are able to, change even 50% of the mind of the people that we are teaching, we can make them good human being. We can make them we can educate them in a way that they become, they started looking at the world with a different perspective. They do not see it in a color, they see it in, with one frame of vision. So it is diversity, it is interdependence, limitation, fairness, cooperation, and responsibility. We have to be responsible for our actions, what we do. We have to take that liberty, like we have to take that. So it is the environmental education system that has been coined by the UNESCO. They always talk about, how we can change and bring the sustainable lifestyles. We can inculcate the human rights, gender equality, promotion of culture of peace and non-violence, global citizenship, and the appreciation of the culture diversity and the culture's contribution to the sustainable development in, in the nation population, so that it should reach out to everybody. So I'm not reading out the entire presentation. If you're reading it, you may understand, how you can impact your students, by giving them 7 competencies and attitudes: to think critically, to plan with anticipation, to have multidimensional and integrative ways, to communicate, to cooperate with others, to respect relations and connections, and to participate proactively. These all, the attributes, required a lot of discussions, but since I'm short of time, I'll be winding up. So this is the timeline of global education movement that UNESCO starts, in 1990, and then finally the agenda came into the picture where goal 4, which is the education for all, need to be met by 2030, which ensures the inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So that is very, very important. Human rights adopted in 1948 in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. They talk about the fundamental human rights, which is education for all. It is very, very important. I gave you an example that if somebody is walking और उसमें लिखा है कि आगे मत जाइए, वहां पे इलेक्ट्रिक वायर्स हैं, आपको पढ़ना नहीं आता तो आप वहां पे जाएंगे. So this is very important that even if your vicinity, the maid that is coming to your house, please ask them that, are your kids going to school? We spend so much of money. If I look around, I think I have invested, my laptop cost, more than 50K, but, I can take out some money and I can give it to, to educate the kids of the drivers and the, people who work at our place. It's very, very important. If we want to achieve these agendas, we don't have to sit in an AC room and, bring 100 of countries together and discuss the same. We have to start working at the ground level. Education is the key to it. I feel very happy when I was a newsreader. Kaleem sir has just told that I was a newsreader. I had a very, very glamorous life. But one thought that pushed me towards and that asked me to, come into this line, that I was wondering one day that, what is something that I can leave behind once I leave this world? If I believe that I'm a good person. So if I want to give my goodness, even I want to say, okay, let's do things. This is very good. How I'm going to leave this goodness behind when I'll be, when I'll die and I'll go to some other world? It's only through educating young minds. You want to give them something, educate them with all the righteous thing that you have learned in your life. Teachers have a biggest impact on any human being. आज अपने आप दादा से बात करिए, आप अपने पापा से बात करिए, आप अपनी मम्मी से बात करिए, वो आपको बताएंगे कि मेरे एक टीचर थे जो ऐसा कहते थे. So this is the impact, this is the impact. So I just wanted to congratulate each one of us that we are born in this noble profession, and we have to, keep it going with all the integrity, loyalty, and, what you'll say, unbiasedness. And I hope that, in achieving the sustainability, this is the one slide that talks about the history of sustainability, 500 BC till now. We've been talking, there are events, there are mitigation adaptive strategies, but then every individual has a role to play. You are on this planet because you have a role to play. So with this, I thank you everyone. And if you have any query, anything, you may please ask me. I'll just unshare my screen. And okay, so you're stop presenting. So all from me. If any question, anything, thank you Amol ji, thank you Rajendra ji, and thank you everyone. Deepa ji, Anjali ji, I can read your comments. And Kamrunisa ma'am, Parag, Rajesh. Thank you Kaleem sir for giving me the opportunity. Thank you Rajendra ji.
If anyone have any questions, they can interact with the ma'am.
Thank you everyone. Meena, Dheeraj, and I can read so many. Thank you. I'm so touched. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for such a wonderful talk.
Thank you.
I'm privileged for this to show you a heartful graduate, ma'am. Ma'am, you have masterfully guided us through the details of the environmental history, challenge, and the imperative needs for the collective action in your talk. As the world is facing with a profound challenge posed by the climate change and the environmental deal, shared by you have been nothing short of enlightening. Through your scholarly address, ma'am, we have not only deepened our understanding of the critical issues at hand, but also gained invaluable viewpoints on how we can align our efforts with the sustainable development goals to foster a more sustainable future. Ma'am, you inspired us with your insights, compelling us to reflect on our individual and collective roles in fostering a greener, healthier world for generation to come. Ma'am, I personally enjoyed your lecture and
Thank
hope
you
the
so much.
participants also enjoyed your talk. On behalf of all, I extend our sincerest gratitude to you, ma'am. Thank you once again for accepting our invitation and for kindly sparing your valuable time for today's talks. We will keep disturbing you in future also, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so somebody is asking for the PPT. I'll definitely be sharing it with Kaleem sir. आप उनसे ले लीजिएगा. And sir, it's my pleasure. It's my it's a privilege for me to among with all of us who are teachers, and I just hope that I am able to struck that string, in everyone, because I believe as a individual that teachers play a very significant role in designing and shaping the future of the country. So thank you everyone, and sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for beautiful session. Nice to meet
Thank
you.
you, madam. You are great.
Thank you.
so much, ma'am.
Thank you everyone, and in case if you need my number or if you
Very
want to get
nice
in touch,
and
you may.
informative session. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you, Medini. Thank you.
We will
Thank
share
you so
the ma'am's email
Thank you,
ID
sir.
and numbers. If you have any query, you can ask. You can contact with them.
Yes, so I should have put it in the chat box, or you'll be sharing it with the participants.
Okay. Yes, you can put it, ma'am.
I'll put it in the chat box. It is
Yes.
ambrina@iul.ac.in. That's my email ID, and 8586069760. That's my phone number. So if anybody wants to get in touch, please.
Thank you, ma'am. We will keep in touch with you, ma'am.
Sure, sir. Sure, Kaleem sir. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks, participants. With this, we will end today's session, and we will meet again tomorrow at 9 a.m. And in the afternoon sessions, you will get the assignments that you need to follow the instructions and go through it. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, shall we be provided with a schedule?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then
Shall we be provided with a schedule?
There is two lectures, 9 a.m. and another is 11 a.m. This is the schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Every day we have two lectures.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank
Every
you.
day we have two lectures, one at 9 and another at 11.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.